because ultimately, if you're involved and you've got a property, you're going to be getting those benefits from the government. Is that fair to say? So in 10 years' time, if you still own that property, I can't promise what the government's going to do after that, but you still own the property, you can still rent it, and more than likely, the government won't pull the pin on this. It's not going to get any better for the tenant out there. Okay?
Yeah, but can the government afford it?
Well, they've allocated the money. It's bipartisan. I think they have to. It's called stimulus.
So we've got lots of questions for Robert, and that's all great. I'm sure Robert can answer any of these and more on a one-on-one
Thanks so much.
thing. Can we say thank you to Robert, please? Definitely feeling this, if it takes an hour of your time to sit with Robert and have it really personalised for you and all your personal questions answered, then that's probably the best way to do it. In a group, it can often be a little bit wishy-washy as to exactly what you need to know, and you may not be able to get into details. So fill it out and we'll make sure that Robert's got all the details and he'll get in contact with you. So, not to rush anybody along, but our last speaker, okay, Alan's my partner in crime and life and many other things, and he's been with Aussie a very, very long time. He started Aussie in 2001. He's one of the top 10 in the country and definitely top 10 in Queensland. Very experienced. He's helped hundreds of clients with their needs in everything, whether it's investment or buying their first home, buying their second home, getting themselves into a better place. It helps all of our clients by designing a loan that suits their needs. So, after many years of having helped people achieve their dream of home ownership and their dream of being an investor in their own right, please welcome to the stage Alan Taylor. And Paddington.
Thanks, Dom. It's confusing tonight. We've got two Vickies and they're both sort of involved. So I've got a little list of a few things to cover. I probably won't be a whole lot of time, maybe half an hour, depends on questions. But one of the things Robert mentioned at the end of your presentation, Robert, was the NRAS and that the banks really didn't have their head around this. It's pretty true. I did the first NRAS property that I did about 2 years ago. And at the time, really none of the banks knew what it was. I've got a pretty good relationship with a guy who's the head of credit in Commonwealth Bank here in Brisbane. And he did this particular deal for me for this client who lives up at Bray Park. It was a whole new thing back then, and the banks really didn't have a grip on it. They did the deal, but they didn't have a grip on it. That's changed a lot now, and a lot of the banks are now starting to understand how NRAS goes, and they've got special policies around it. So, depending on who you bank with at the moment, most of the majors have got their head across it, not all of them. Some do it better than others. Just to throw a name out there, St George, they're right across it, but you do have to be careful what consortium that's attached to. As Robert said, the rental side of things is handled by a consortium that looks after that. There's some consortiums that the way they build their head leases, the banks won't deal with it. So you just have to be careful what consortium it is it's hooked up with. Robert's stuff has all been cleared. We've had all that checked. The consortiums they use are good. Banks are across it. But there was some stuff done on the Gold Coast where there's a Gold Coast consortium, and the banks, St George in particular, have gone, no, we're not going to do it at all. So I've had a few clients that have actually done them, but it hasn't been widely publicised. I don't get people ringing me asking me, do I know about NRAS lending or NRAS properties? Because it's not that well known. Who knew about it before tonight? One.
Sort of. I've heard something. I don't know.
No. So it is new and it's a whole new thing. But so I just wanted to touch on borrowing, I guess, for investment. I'm guessing that most of you here have already got property of your own and or investment property. So what a lot of people do is they go, well, if I've got a home, I want to be able to use that to generate some wealth by some investment property, but I don't really have any money. I I've got equity, but I haven't got cash to put in as a deposit, so I want to use the equity in my home. So it's about putting the right structure around your lending so that you can access that equity without tying it up necessarily against your home. There's a few different tricks that you can do with different lenders as to how you can get your home debt paid down faster, and in some cases you can actually increase your investment debt, so your tax deductibility goes up, but your non-tax deductible debt goes down, which is a good thing, because really there's good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is debt that you have no tax deduction for. Good debt is debt that's tax deductible. Not that any debt ultimately is good, and people don't really want mortgages, they just want property, they don't really want a loan. But if you've got to have a choice between the two, then I'll have the debt that's tax deductible rather than the debt that's not tax deductible. So some of the banks will let you package loans up, give you an interest rate across your total borrowings, and that's one of the things we like to do with people if you look in investment properties, is to look at what is your situation. Is it just your home today? Is this your first investment property? Is it part of a portfolio of investment properties? Do you want to have more than one? So start with the end in mind is what I like to try and do. And so that you can put the right structures in place in the beginning, so that as you're building a portfolio, you can grow one to the next to the next. There's a few different ways you can do it. Actually, I might use the whiteboard rather than a presentation, if that's all right. One strategy that I did quite a few years ago, and it worked really, really well, and I've recommended it a number of times to people who have done something similar. I had a client that had 5 properties. They had their home and 4 investments. They sold their home and they sold 2 investment properties. So they ended up with a stash of $400,000 cash as a result of sale of their home, paid out and they get sold 2 investment properties, cleared those debt, and ended up with 400 grand. So what they were doing was they'd go out and they'd buy an investment property and buy it for cash. So they were buying properties, distressed vendors, needed to sell their home, they were in a bit of a bind, they wanted to get 320,000 for it, so they go, oh, I'll give you 260, pay cash, settle in 7 days. How quickly do you want the money, right? And so they go and buy, well, this is probably about 4 years ago, they were buying Deegan, Sandgate, Grey Park, Nunda, Hamilton, Ascot. Anyway, so they go and buy property for cash. And then they go and buy it, say, 250 cash, pay cash out of the 400, no debt. They go into the house, lick the paint, this and that, get a carpet, fix up the railing, whatever, put a tenant in it, then we get it revalued. The bank would come out and go, oh, well, that's worth 280. Right? So then we go and put a debt back on that, put an 80% loan against it, take the money out, put it back in the pot. So now they've got next property, and their stash is now 350. So then they go, okay, I want another one. They negotiate a price, get one for 220. Pay for cash, get the paint, get that, get a carpet, go again, get it revalued, put an 80% debt back on it, put the money out, put it back in the pot again. They got to 7. Until the wife decided I'm over this, and they bought a house at Ascot, and they've stayed there since. Since that time, they've actually sold 2 of the properties off, and all of the loans now have either been reduced or not much left on them at all. But just as a packaging strategy or a way to do things, rather than necessarily borrowing for each property as you go, starting off with a stash, buying them for cash, because you're buying cash, you get them at the best price you can get it. And if they couldn't do the right deal, they just, okay, next property. You know, buying with your head rather than your heart. A lot of people buy investment properties with emotion. People buy property with emotion, but they do it with investment properties as well. And I've had people say to me, oh, look, I'm not really sure I could live in that property. Hey, newsflash, you're not gonna. Someone else is going to live in it. It's all about location and ease of rent and, you know, continuity of tenancy and all those sorts of things. So that's one strategy that worked really well for this particular couple. It's not often available to everybody because they don't have the means to be able to create this top
in the beginning. But good strategy if you can do it, because by buying with cash you can actually get really good deals on the properties. Distressed vendors settle quickly, squeeze them on price. And then we go, and once you own it, we've got it fixed up a little bit. They spend no more than 2,000 or 3,000 on liquor paint and this and that. Put a tenant in it, and then you get maximum value when you get the bank to go back and revalue it. The other trick you can do is structuring your loans. If you've got this as your home loan and this is your investment loan, you can have it so that your rent goes into here, your pay goes into here, your repayments go into here, and this loan is going down, down, down.